water. So in terms of the conditions, it looks like it's settled a little bit from the men's heat races. We had a lot of white tops during those races. It's settled a little bit, still quite blowy. They've got a following wind as they go down to this first mark. As we would expect to see, quite a close race now that these are all grouped by time with these rowers. So this is the first of 3 finals. There are 9 crews in each final. As I say, we weren't quite sure on the progression during that first round, but they were all timed, so everything was on time. The rounds were fair, or each race in the first round was fairly even. So Swanage now pulled out a little bit more of a gap. Yeah, got a nice bit of clear water now. That little challenge from Weymouth there is gone for the moment, and we're just coming up to the first mark. So yeah, it looks like Swanage got that fairly easy from Weymouth. Then it looks like it's going to be Langston third. Bude look like they've got water, I would think, over Pulpit Rock there. Yeah, so Swanage lifting their oars over that first mark. Back in nice and quick. It's not a tight mark, that one, so if they are lifting their oars over, they've got to be really quick getting back in, back on the power again. Looking nice. Bude have done well. They kept plenty of speed there. They come up inside Star of Northney, the Langston boat, and the stroke row on the Langston boat seems to have come out of her pins there. Lost quite a few strokes. Not quite sure what happened there, but certainly it's given Bude a bit of a run now on Langston for third position. A little bit of a tight battle a little bit further back with the New Haven boat and Bridport. So fairly tight. This middle pack of this race is fairly tight, so we could see quite a few position changes yet. Although Swanage looking pretty comfortable out in front over Weymouth at the moment. Half a boat length of clear water, and they're halfway down now towards that second turn. Yeah, so first, second and third. They're just coming past the umpire boat now, just hearing the calls. This will be the close one. So yeah, the close call there looked like it was going to be Portland over New Haven. I think New Haven got the call there. But yeah, the front of the boat right on the cock, so that was a tight one to call. The call's been made quite early on this mark, probably about 8, 9, 10 boat lengths. Sometimes it feels like you're almost on top of them at the mark sometimes by the time you get the call, but these ones given him plenty of time, so plenty of time to sort yourselves out, find your bit of water to go around that mark. So although they're fairly tight, it is kind of a line astern going around the mark. Swanage there just lifting the oars over. This is that really tight, difficult turn, trying to turn it into the wind. Weymouth have come a lot tighter in around that mark and clawed a little bit back there. And it looks like Langstone as well had a fairly good turn there, so tightened up maybe a little bit towards the front. New Haven have made a good ground there, so they were a little bit back on the red boat behind Pulpit Rock from Portland, but they've probably made up a boat length there on them coming in and through that turn by being on the inside. So pulling hard into this really, really strong wind now. Weymouth know that Swanage are there just over their shoulders. You can see them every now and then. I'm seeing the Weymouth crew just having a quick look over their shoulders. They might be trying to spot their oars in, but they'll be well aware that they're right on their transom. So really good race in this. Just quickly going through the order again. We've got Swanage followed by Weymouth. Then it's Langston, then Bude, then Newhaven, Portland, then Barnstable, Bridport and Portreath. Only about 7 or 8 boat lengths at this stage between first and last, so nice tight pack. In the middle of the pack, quite a lot of the boats overlapping. Nice tight racing. So long leg this one, long leg into the wind. Let's go. So the real battle here is for 4th, 5th, 6th place. This is the final. These will be the final positions. Good news for those in 4th, 5th and 6th is once you get into that race with the boats next to you, it draws you up on some boats ahead that might not be in such a close race. So Langston have got to keep working hard here. There's 3 of them there with potential to come up and fight for that podium. Swanage crew looking really strong, looking tall, looking powerful. I'm just trying to have a look at the crew that I've been saying is Swanage. Looking at the team kit, and it doesn't look like it's a Swanage team kit, so as I say, I've only got boat names here rather than the clubs, so I'm wondering whether that looks like it might be a Lyme kit possibly there, or Boscastle. Is it Lyme Regis B? It is, yeah. So it's actually Lyme Regis B in Winspit there. And Weymouth, I think maybe they're coming back at them a little bit. They're just starting to get a slight overlap. Possibly the wrong side just to be able to use any advantage if they did get their nose up to the cocks. Yeah, so really tight. Still 4th, 5th and 6th. Nothing's cool between those boats. Great racing in this. So it's been Lyme Regis B crew, not Swanage, Lyme Regis B crew in the front all the way, but pushed really hard by Weymouth right through this race. Weymouth finding a little bit more speed now. They haven't got long now until this next turn, probably about a dozen boat lengths until the final turn. From there, probably about another dozen boat lengths through to the finish line. This is the final of for these ladies or these women, so they're going to be pushing, trying to get that result. So this is the plate race, remember, so the slowest of the 9 crews. Just looking back to the middle of the pack, looks like there might be some overlapping oars there. We've got the Portland crew, we've got Newhaven, yeah, definitely there's the number 2 rower in Henry Smarden just having to pull a oar in, get it back into the pins again, just to a little clash and overlap of the oars there. Towards the front of the race, Weymouth really pushing now. They've taken 2 or 3 metres out of the Lyme Regis B crew. So this race isn't over up the front. This is for the plate final. A really good finish from Weymouth here. They could still do this. just coming up towards the umpire boat in the next few boat lengths. Definitely be Lyme Regis B that will have the water, but it's only a very slight turn, this one, so it doesn't make too much of a difference yet. Just seeing the Lyme Regis Cox raise her hand there, so she's been told she's got water. Let's see whether Weymouth can do anything just down this final leg. Third place still Langston, and it looks like this really close battle we've had for fourth. Portland coming out on top at the moment on that one, over Bude and then New Haven. And then back from there we've got the Barnstable crew in Lady Frida, and then a close race between, you got Zeus, which is their Portreath crew, and they're the ones that have got the three that had never rowed before that first race today, and the lady that had driven all the way up from St Justin, Cornwall, which is about as far as you can go in Cornwall without falling off the end, and they're just a little bit ahead of Bridport, but those two crews having a fantastic race. So it looks like Lyme Regis have managed to find something coming out of that mark, and if anything now it looks like Weymouth getting chased by Langston for second place, so really starting to tighten up there. Okay, we'll start to move up now towards the finish line. There's a short final leg. So the finish line is right in front of everyone that's up on Sandpit Field on the shore there. So you get a really good view of these crews coming across the finish line. So yeah, we're just watching the crews now coming up. And Lyme Regis really getting pushed hard by Weymouth as they come towards the line. Langston want to get into this fight as well. They're a little bit wider on a slightly different line coming into the finish, but really, really close. This is a really good battle for the first of these finals. Probably and only another 4, 5, 6 boat lengths to go for them. Yeah, look how close it's got on this as we come towards this mark. Just coming towards the finish line, 2 or 3 boat lengths to go for them. Weymouth again giving them a really good push. Langston have really come into this fight as well. What a fantastic finish for the first of these races. Yeah, and I think they're just coming over now. Difficult to spot that finish line. I think we're actually across the line. None of these crews want to take a risk though. So it is Lyme Regis B crew in Winspit that are the winners of the plate final here at the Swanage Super Vets Championships. Well done to Lyme Regis B crew. In second place in this final is Weymouth. Well done to them. They're still rowing just in case they might not have gone over the line. In third place is Langston. In Star of Northney, well done to them. Then it was Portland in Pulpit Rock, Bude in Bedehaven. They're followed by New Haven in Henry Smarden. And then just coming across the line in a moment, in Lady Frida is Barnstable. Looking a little bit further back, we've got Zeus. And they pulled just a boat length or two, I think, over Bridport in the end. It's a good race for both of those boats. Had a good race all the way around. Really good racing in that, quite exciting. All nicely bunched up and close together, but all fair. Well done to all those crews out there. Hopefully that really sets the scene for the next races we're going to see. So next race will be the Ladies Shield Final, and that will be the 9 next fastest rowers. And we will look forward to seeing you back in very nearly Swanage, sunny Swanage back then. Okay, so just lining up on the start line now is the Shield final. So this is the middle group, as it were, of times. 9 crews in here. So going through from berth 1, we've got Troy, so that is the Foy B crew. In 2 is Torrent, that's Boscastle and Crackington. In number 3 is Seven Spirit, that's the Portishead crew. In 4 is Killigarran, which is Roseland. In 5 is Arvenack, which is Portishead B. In number 6 is Ammonite. I'm just trying to see them out there, which is the Lyme Regis crew. Then we have Goose, which is Porlock Weir, Nipper, which is Barnstable, and on the far end is Iron Maid, which is Tamar and Tavy. So the starters just trying to get them on the line. I think they're blowing a little bit in towards the Banjo Pier on the close end of the line. So just taking a little while just to sort those out. Might have to have a little row up and row round. Ah, they're underway. So we're nice and close to this this near end of the line here. So Killigarran, the Roseland crew in that berth 4, looking strong this end of the line. Yeah, and coming right past under the bow of the Stream Team boat there. So we'll follow those boats up. But yeah, looks at the moment, I would say like Roseland. And then probably on the far side you've got Ammonite, which is the Lyme Regis cruise. Those are the 2 showing the early form. You can nail the start and fly off the line, but it doesn't necessarily mean you get to stay there. So a good start is good, but let's see whether those starts show through into that first mark. So Foy just starting to look like they might be coming back a little bit here. They've hit their rhythm now. They're closest to us here in berth 1. Always an advantage from berth 1 because you've got that potential to be on the inside around the first mark. Quite often the lanes are drawn at random for a lot of events. There's a few events where your position in the previous round might give you a better lane. I would imagine here for this event it's just a random draw. So yeah, we're seeing Foy now. They're starting to come up probably level with Roseland. The 2 crews both have with those red boats, red tops. Over the far side, Lyme still looking good. They look like they're still in it, but maybe more third, I think. And then we've got Boscastle and Crackington in Torrent. And on the far side, we've got Tamar and Tavy in Iron Maid. So, pretty close. I would say there's probably 5 boats at the moment that are all still overlapped at the front of this race. Got plenty of wind behind him at the moment, so flying down towards this first mark. And Foy, look now. They've asserted that dominance. Getting pushed hard by their cocks there. Yeah, so well done to Foy. They've really pushed ahead. They're starting to get to the point now where they're going to have clear water. As soon as you've got clear water, you can really just focus just on your rowing. The cocks can think about the best line he's going to take around that first mark. Still in a line behind them. Really exciting. Boscastle and Crackington in Torrent. Roseland in Killigarran. Lyme Regis and Ammonite, they're all, I couldn't say who's in second at the moment, it's that close. Really good. Yeah, well done. You quite often hear counts to 10. There's definitely a number 12 I heard shouted there, so you know, it's a bit like the Spinal Tap, turn it up to 11, turn it up to 12. Maybe sets of 12 could push you that little bit quicker. I don't know, there's got to be some logic in there somewhere. Whatever they're doing, it's working. This is the time, as I've said in previous races, this is the point you know that every crew is pushing. You might be pushing harder in some bits than others, but at this point on this first leg, particularly for those boats that are fighting out over second now, there is nothing being left. This is the point that's going to make or break their race. At the moment, Boscastle and Crackington are doing everything they need to do for second. They're on the inside, they're not letting any of the boats on the outside getting too much further ahead. They're giving themselves a really good chance to come out of this turn in second place. Just coming past the umpire boat now. Yeah, well done to that 40B crew. They are around the mark, clear water. Coxes them to use a fair bit of rudder there. Getting round. Oh yeah, this looks like possibly a little bit of interruption of rowing. Yeah, there's a couple of oars up in the air there, so we'll see how that plays out. Danger there is once one side stops rowing, as we can see there, the boat turns because you've only got rowers rowing on one side. So Roseland have had a real problem there. We'll leave that all for other people to make any decisions about as we turn our way back towards the front of this race. So Foy in first place. In second, staying out of trouble. They're on that inside line. Boscastle and Crackington, massive gap then behind. Suddenly the big race now is for third place with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boats all fighting for third place in this Shield final. So yeah, always a danger is if the oars on one side clash with the oars in another gig on the other side, the boats tend to turn into each other as the two crews on the outside pull the boats into each other, which is kind of what happened there with that Roseland crew. And it's pushed them right out from being in a good position to right on the outside, worst place to be, all those 5 boats coming into the second mark. Now they'll be fired up now and they'll be seeing what they can do and what they can claw back. They should, if they get some good turns, be able to get back into third place. We know they're a good crew. So good early calls on this again. So we know Ammonite has the mark there. Yeah, tricky making the calls with that many boats so close together. Quite difficult for the umpires to actually even see the boats that are on the far side, let alone try and work out what order they're in. So we're looking at that Foy crew. They're just coming around that second mark now, turning the boat into the wind. And you can see from this angle that we're at now, it is just how much the boats slow down into that wind and that tight turn. Boscastle and Crackington coming round in second. They've been watching all the antics behind, but at the moment they've got a good bit of clear water. Ammonite, so that's the Lyme Regis crew, coming round in third. We'll see how this, what order they come out in. So some are turning a little bit wider, some are turning a bit tighter. It's quite a tight turn. So I would imagine there's going to be a few changes of position from third back to 7th place there. And we've got Poor Look Weir is the last boat at the moment, but they're pretty close in on the rest of the pack there. So it looks like Foy and Boscastle and Crackington, they're looking fairly dominant in this race, but everything from third backwards, it's a complete unknown at the moment. Really, really good racing. The crews will be enjoying these races. The ones that are going to be fired up here are Roseland. Yeah, they got a little bit unlucky on that first mark and they've been pushed out, but they're going to really push back and they've got plenty of places that they can make up. Hopefully their Cox is letting them know that a good third place is still up for grabs here. We're just coming up alongside the Foy crew now. And it's a really, really nice long flowing stroke that they've got. Yeah, good quality rowing. You can see why they're out the front in this race. Really nice. Looks really fluid. So Foy with probably a 3-4 boat length lead over Boscastle and Crackington. Then going back, still in third place, I think at the moment, is the Lyme Regis crew. But Tamar and Tavy are pretty close on them in fourth place. Fifth place is Barnstable. Sixth is Roseland. And then seventh is Portishead. There's probably, I'd say, a bit more of a spread in this race than we saw in the last race. It's just particularly on this leg as they go into the wind, opened up a little bit, stretched out. I'd say the most interesting part that we're seeing down this leg is that Tamar and Tavy look to be coming past on the outside of Lyme Regis for third place. So they are on the outside. That means that they've got to be able to get far enough up past on the outside to get water. That being said, remember this last mark is just kind of a little bit of a dog leg, a bit of a row around, so even if you're on the outside, not the end of the world on this one. Yeah, the crew in that Foy boat, I can hear them getting vocal as well. Not just the Cox, I think they're enjoying it. So this is the Foy B crew. Foy A crew will be rowing in the next final in Q. So Foy as a club, they'll be pretty happy if they've got a crew that are winning this Shield final. So second, Boscastle and Crackington. Third, definitely now, there's no doubt about it, Tamar and Tavy have had a really good second half of this race. They were in that big pack of boats all together, and now they're chasing down Boscastle and Crackington. I would say they've probably made up a boat length or two on Boscastle and Crackington since that last mark. So this could get tasty for second place yet. Back in fourth place is Lyme Regis. It looks like Nipper there, I'd say, just a little bit ahead of Killigaran. So that's the Barnstable crew, a little bit ahead of Roseland. So final mark, Foy B crew in Troy. They're around that mark. They've got a good lead. They can really enjoy this run into the leg, in this last leg into the final. So Torrens, Boscastle and Crackington coming up to that final mark. Then it's Tamar and Tavy in Iron Maid chasing down that second place. Looking at the two crews rowing here, Boscastle and Crackington generally think they've got a much shorter but shorter stroke, higher rate. Tamar and Tavy keeping it long, slower rate, but it seems to be working for them. They haven't got very far to catch up with them now. They put a lot of effort in. Fourth place, Lyme Regis trying to fend off Barnstable. So fourth, fifth, sixth place is very, very close. Sun's nearly trying to break out for us. Ready for some photos now of 4AB approaching that line. They're looking good, they're looking strong. Beautiful long stroke. Quite a dominant race. So I'm trying to think how that race went for them in the first round. It kind of looks from that like maybe they could have been trying to get, or should have been maybe in that final. I mean, they are where they are, and it's all fair. But certainly they've been quite dominant in this final. So probably about 2 or 3 boat lengths to go. In fact, I think that might be them over. So there we are. That is the Shield final, and that is 4B crossing the line. Well done to those women. Really, really strong, dominant row. Beautiful rowing. In second place, they found a second win and managed to fend off Tamar and Tavy. But Boscastle and Crackington coming across the line in second. And that's Tamar and Tavy in I Made across the line in third. Well done to those 3 crews. That's your top 3. We're just looking back a little bit more now, seeing how the racing's going. There's a bit of a split between lines. We've got Lyme Regis coming up one side of us, Barnstable coming the other. So it looks like Lyme Regis, they're pushing hard, and they've got that 4th place. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Lyme Regis in 4th, Barnstable and Nipper in 5th. They're over. Then it's Roseland in Killigarran. Had a bit of a nightmare on that first mark in 6th. A little gap back, and then we've got 7 Spirit. Which is the Portishead crew. And then a good fight a little bit further back as well. So that's Goose, which is Porlock Weir. And then we've got Wenwick, which is Portishead B. So yeah, 7 Spirit across the line, and still really close fight here. I couldn't say who's ahead here. It's really, really close. This is the tightest battle maybe in the race for this last position. Rowing really strong, really hard through to the end. Last few strokes for them. I would say it probably looks like Portishead. Not quite sure. We'll see. Yeah, I'd say probably just Portishead there, ahead of Porlock Weir. But really, really close racing. Well done to these women. There we go. That's a fantastic final. Really good quality rowing in that. Good racing all the way through. A little bit messy on that first turn, but that's sometimes what happens when you go in 5 wide. So next race will be the Ladies Cup race. So that'll be the 9 fastest crews. And we will see you back then. Okay, welcome back. You join us now for the plate race for the Open. So this is the 7 slowest boats from the Open heat this morning. Just going through, again I've got boat names, so I'm quickly glancing up, trying to recognise the crews, using my memory. I'm doing a bit of cross-referencing for any borrowed boats. In lane 1 we've got Nipper, which is Barnstable. In 2 we've got Henry Smarden, which is Newhaven. In 3 we've got Irene, which is Lewis. In 4 we've got Dagger, which is Bridport. 5 Star of Northney, which is Langston. In 6 we've got Elowin, which is Mevagissey, and in 7 Tristan, which is Weymouth. So last few taps just to get them all on the line. So the starter's on the end of the Banjo Pier there, and he's got plenty of advice coming to him, because it looks like there's about 80 people all looking right over his shoulder. Everything that's going on. Really good place to watch the start from. It reminds me a little bit of the Newquay County Champs, where everyone's on the end of the harbour wall, glancing down and watching the start. Okay, just looking at this end of the line, Nipper and Newhaven. I was just a bit worried about the angle the boats were at there. Looked like they were pointing into each other a bit, but no issues, all looks good. Newhaven gone off at a fantastic rate there. Really high rate off of that start. It definitely feels like the wind has picked up just in the last 10 minutes or so. My measure of that is I've had to nearly catch the cap off the top of my head several times. I might just take it off before I lose it. So yeah, definitely we're quite close to the shore here, and the wind has really picked up. I would imagine by the time they're getting out the back end of that course, they're going to really feel that wind. We're not seeing swell, but it does get choppy up there, and it makes that second part of the race feel really hard as you pull in the boats into the wind. So it's a story of the first and last heat berths, I think, here. I would say it's difficult to call it, but it's either Barnstable in Nipper or Tristan on the very far side that look to have the edge at the moment. Elowin in 3rd, I would say, which is the Mevagissey crew. Looks like Martin stroking in his usual seat there from the look of it. Yeah, so nice and close all the way through this pack. Tristan maybe, I think, on the far side, maybe just edging it over Barnstable. We're right up alongside them, so we're getting quite a good view. And yeah, I would say Tristan from Weymouth. Now they are on that far berth, so they've got to row hard, because there's going to be a lot of people trying to push up inside them. But at the moment they've had a good push, they've pulled it out. It's quite a lot of chop here. This is much more than we've seen in any other race. I didn't row in the Sillies this year, so you'll all be telling me that it was much rougher there, but this is definitely, compared to what we've had today, a lot more challenging. Second place, I was saying, Mevagissey there on the far side, and they're in that varnished boat. I've got to get the pronunciation of Elowin right. Not Elowin, it's Elowin. I've got a niece called Elowin, so Tristan, yeah, look, they've really pulled that out. Nice gap, half a boat length clear of the 2 boats behind them. Mevagissey 2nd, Barnstable 3rd. So in 4th is Lewis. Lovely central point, Swanage now. It used to be, when I used to row first Swanage, back a long time ago, Swanage was the most easterly gig club. And now it's kind of centrally position for most of the clubs around the country, so it's a great venue for these Super Vets Championships. So Henry Smarden, that is New Haven, in 5th place. Then we've got Bridport in Dagger and Star of Northney. They're battling out, trying not to be last in this race, but again, as we've seen in some of these other finals, no one's dropping off the back. There's good racing all the way through. Weymouth looking really strong. 2 or 3 boat lengths out in the lead. Quite an upright row, not leaning back too much. You know, they're out in front by 2 or 3 boat lengths, so they're doing a lot right. So we do see quite a variation in how much different crews lean back into the boat. There's lots of different thoughts on it. But as I say, sometimes it's just the amount of training, the amount of fitness and the amount of determination which makes the difference. So Barnstable pulled a little bit back now. They've put themselves into 2nd position. They're on the inside as well. Elwyn from Evergissi was definitely ahead for a little while, coming into this first mark. So Tristan from Weymouth, round the mark first. 2nd is going to be Nipper from Barnstable. 3rd is going to be LON. Lots of shouting going on there. Really close behind, Henry Smarden. That's the New Haven crew. Inside of Irene, which is the Lewis crew. There we go, and then we got Dagger from Bridport. They're ahead of Star of Northney. Yeah, so I just heard the cocks from Dagger then shouting, come on, we've got Irene on this turn. So, yeah, Irene, the Lewis crew, going out quite wide there on that turn. Now, the less rudder you use, the faster the boat's going to carry on going, but obviously you're increasing the distance that you're rowing. So, but they've seen an opportunity there. They've seen Lewis go that little bit wider. They're going to now try and push, see if they can get their nose up in front of the cocks of Irene. Now, seen now, we had Elwyn on the outside and Nipper on the inside coming into the 2nd mark for 2nd and 3rd places. They've swapped round now, so now Nipper is on the outside. Elwyn is now pushing, and from this angle, the bow is about a metre short of the cocks. They got to find that. Probably a boat length or 2 to do it. We're right up on the umpire boat. We'll see if we can hear the calls on that. That could be quite exciting. I couldn't hear the calls. I mean, if I was going to call it, I'd definitely say Elwyn probably get there, but we're on a slightly different line from the umpire boat. But yeah, it looks like Nipper on the outside there. Having to leave space there for Elwyn to come on the inside. So good tactical placement of the boat there from the Evergissi cocks. So round that 2nd mark, Tristan in 1st place, the Weymouth crew. 2nd place, Elwyn, the Evergissi crew. 3rd place, Barnstable in Nipper. 4th place is New Haven in Henry Smarden. 5th place, Lewis in Irene. They're just on the outside there. Then it's Dagger, Bridport crew. And in 7th, but only just 7th, still staying fairly close to the rest of the pack, Star of Northney. I can see one of the original members of Langston from when they first started, Chris in 5 there. He was coxing ladies crew a little bit earlier on. I think when Langston started, they all looked like Chris, big long white beards. And he's the only one left with a big white beard. Lovely guy, very, very welcoming when they had their first regattas, and I know he's very valued within Langston as a club. And it's great to see him rowing out there today. Always one of the first people I look around to try and find. So back to the front of this race, Tristan. It really looks like it closes up on this leg, and I think that's the winds just sort of taking the boat speeds down and drawing all the boats a little bit closer together. So a fair amount of chop.
Steve, can you
Definitely got some white tops again here.
get Nipper in? Hello, it's That's it, lovely.
So Ella wins second. Nipper, the Barnstable crew in third, but close between those. So I can see now that the Cox and Nipper are just positioning the boat so that if they find that bit of extra speed, they've got space to push up. This is the long third leg into the wind. Hard work. But it does mean there's plenty of time to make a difference on this leg. Yeah, it sounds like Mervigissy know that Barnstable are coming. There's some big Thames going in there. They're trying to hold Barnstable off. Barnstable want to come back at this. They're right up with them in an earlier part of this race, so they know they've got the speed. These two crews racing could draw themselves back up to Weymouth. I mean, Weymouth is a fairly good lead at the moment, but racing boats, when they're really close together, always tend to be the fastest boats in the race. So New Haven and Lewis a little bit further back. Two of the more easterly clubs having a really strong battle there, along with Bridport and Langston coming right back into this. So a really close battle between four boats at the back of this pack. So a reminder, this is the plate final. This is the seven the slower timed boats from the first round. Just to give you an idea of the race order, the next race will be the Open Shield race. After that we move back to the women's cruise, and it will be the women's cup final, and then it will be the men's cup final. So yeah, Weymouth having, I wouldn't say it's a boring race for them, but I think they're probably quite happy with the fact that there's no one around them. They just concentrate on their rowing. There's a good bit of action going on behind them for them to follow. But yeah, they're looking fairly solid. The timing's good. There's not too much stress going on in that boat. There's a lot of hard work, as there always is. But yeah, they're tidy. They're showing why they're out the front of this race. Further back, Mervigissy looking good. They're holding off any challenge at the moment from Barnstable. These two have definitely had quite a good race. I'm pretty sure they'll find each other on the beach and up on Sandpit Field afterwards, just to have a talk about it. Their racing's done for the day as well, so they can go and find that little bar that's set up on Sandpit Field and enjoy a good day's rowing. And of course they'll be back to support some of the other crews in the other finals. So it's kind of a race of two different parts. This one we've got the top three, then we've got quite a gap back. I'm not quite sure who's fourth at the moment. I would probably say it's Lewis in Irene, but Henry Smarden in New Haven are right there with them as well. I like New Haven's yellow oars. That's going to make them easy to spot from a distance. They're rowing Henry Smarden, which I believe they purchased from Brixham. Yeah, Brixham have had quite a lot of success with Henry Smarden, and I think they said they were going to keep those colours for the time being. Possibly looks like as well Bridport sneaking their bow possibly down the inside as they come up to that umpire boat. So yeah, some really good racing towards the back of the fleet there. Up towards the front here, still Weymouth in Tristan. holding that first position, keeping a nice consistent gap back to Mevagissey and Alowen. Barnstable, they've had a really good go at trying to get that second place, but I think now just starting to drop back and possibly settling for that third place. So there's a little short run around the last mark in towards the finish line. We're quite a way off of the beach here, but I can hear the crowd shouting already, winds carrying their voices from the beach. So a lot of support for these men in this final. So the plate final, very close now for Weymouth. Last few strokes for them. Really good. They've dominated this race. They've made it their own. Really good. We're almost on the transit. I think quite often the crews are not quite sure when they've gone over, so they tend to row a little bit further. I think we're pretty much on the transit here. So here they come, interesting. The Weymouth crew coming across the line.
This is Steve, up you can. Perfect.
There it is. Well done. So yes, they are the Plate Open Super Event champions for 2025. They're going to do a few extra strokes for good luck, but I think they know they've done it. Well done to them. Really strong, dominant race. That was fantastic. Mevagissey coming up, second place. Good battle for them. Well rowed, Mevagissey.
Yeah, there's Steve coming in.
And then it's Barnstable and Nipper in third. Well done. And those three crews pulled out quite a gap over the rest of the fleet. The rest of the fleet, though, have had an absolutely brilliant race. It looks like Lewis and Irene got boat length clear water over the crews behind. But yeah, they're pushing all the way. You know, if you're going to be in the plate final and towards the back, that's the kind of race you want, because they've just absolutely had to nail it all the way through. I'm sure they've had an awful lot of fun. As I say, the quality is really high throughout all the races here.
Get the checker flag.
So Lewis,
Come to the side.
there's some real sounds of exhaustion from some of the rowers. Lewis across the line there. Really close now. I can't quite see who it is. It's neck and neck. So Star of Northney, the Langstone crew, they were last at one point. Dagger, which is the Bridport crew. Who's it going to be as they come up to the
I
line?
want to see the flags.
Yeah, it looks like it might just be Bridport. It's so close. Think it's Bridport. We might have to wait for the results to come out for that one. Then Star of Northney, the Langstone boat. Henry Smarden from New Haven. What great racing. Well done. So we'll join you again very shortly for the Open Shield race. Okay, welcome back. This is the Shield race for the open category. Just final orders from the starter. Berth 1 in endurance is Torridge. A then in berth 2 in Torrent is Boscastle and Crackington. Berth 3 in Seven Spirit is Portishead. Berth 4 Heart of Hailing is Langstone. Berth 5 Iron Maid, Tamar and Tavy. Berth 6 in Winspit is Swanage, and in berth 7 in Beacon is Bridport. So again, we're sitting on the start line in quite a strong wind here. So just blowing the boats through the line. But it sounds like we're about to get underway. And they're off. Okay, here we go. So it looks like in the middle of the pack, Seven Spirit, which is the Portishead boat. Good start from them. Winspit on the far side there, dark blue boat. That's the home Swanage crew. Good start from them. It's a lovely feeling when you got a strong tailwind off the start and the boat is absolutely flying. It's a shame when you turn around and go the other way, it doesn't feel quite the same. But yeah, off the start, they'll feel like heroes at the moment. The boat's absolutely slicing through the water really fast. So it is those two boats I mentioned that have pulled quite a gap at the moment. Seven Spirit, Portishead look like a strong crew. It looks like there's a lot of power in there. Can they maintain that? And right on the far side, sticking right with them in Winspit is the Swanage crew. Coxes now have got two jobs here. One, they've got to push that crew. They've got to keep their heads engaged, make sure that they are getting everything out of those 6 rows in front of them. It's really tempting as a row to start looking around what else is going on. They've got to make sure their heads are in the boat and they're just focusing on doing whatever it takes to make that boat go as fast as possible. While they're doing that, these coxes have got to start looking around. Where are the other boats? What's going to happen when I get to the mark? Can I get myself clear water? Can I adjust my position? Not weave, of course, you can't weave, but can you adjust your position to give yourself a better chance coming into that turn? So on that far side, that's exactly what Holly, the Swanage cox, is thinking at the moment. She's got 3 boats there at the moment with the potential to come up inside her and push her out really, really wide on that first turn. So it's really important now for that Swanage crew to get well clear of the 3 boats behind. If they had an amazing first leg, they get ahead of Portishead in Seven Spirit as well. But I would imagine they will accept being just in that position they're in at the moment and getting a good turn, and then they can worry about Portishead a little bit later. Portishead though look like quite a strong. They're all quite tall. Looks like got a lot of power. I was quite impressed with their start, but it looks like they can maintain that. And certainly they've probably got a metre or 2 at the moment on Swanage on their outside. Looking further back, Heart of Hailing maybe for third, but Endurance here, which is the Torridge boat, they're on the inside. So if things stay as they are, they should come out of that first turn in the lead. Really nice that we've got 2 boats in front, and then the next 5 all overlapping, all heading down to that first turn. Makes it quite exciting for us as we watch the first buoy turn. Makes it a little bit more stressful if you're stuck in the middle of the pack there with boats either side, and Gives you a bit of extra distance if you are Bridport on that far side, having to row all that extra way. So we can see now what Holly has done. She's an extremely experienced cox, and she's moved to get her boat on the inside. So really good tactical racing there. See if we can hear whether they get the call. Yeah, so Seven Spirit had the water over Windspit. So that Swanage crew, you can see them now slowing themselves right down, giving the room. Perfectly judged. They had a really good go of it. I really like that from Holly. That was really clever, smart coxing, switching to try and get the inside. Almost did it. Really tight there, a little bit further behind. So yeah, a little bit of a tangle. There's a bit of a, what's the game, kaplunk with all the needles, with all those oars crossing over for a moment. Looks unfortunately like Heart of Hailing there came off worse than that. They were kind of stuck in the middle there and had to let everyone else go past and couldn't row either side. So this race up the front looks really, really good. So I think Swanage are really on a move now. Yeah, Holly's just got them to take the rate up a little bit. Put a bit of a push in. This is the time to do it. Get that. What they want is, of all the turns, that second turn is really tight. You want to be on the inside. You definitely do not want to be stuck on the outside of that mark. And she's pushed that crew really hard. The crew have responded. They've found it. They've made up a boat length, possibly a bit more. I would say they're possibly 2 boat lengths they've just made. They've just found that out of nowhere. That's incredible. Look at that, straight through from a boat length behind Seven Spirit coming out that last turn to a boat length ahead of them now coming in. Really, really good. What can Portishead do? Can they come back? Is this tactical? Have they let them do it? Ready for this next leg? Wind's really building as we go through the day as well. So this next leg's going to feel quite long for them. This is a test of their crew's fitness as we go into this portion of the race. So well done, Swanage in Windspit there, coming round that mark. Stroke side, pulling that bow round into the wind. It always takes so long when you've got a strong wind. Portishead having a good turn as well. So they've started rowing a little bit earlier, so they're just trying to get a bit of speed back into the boat a little bit earlier, but that'll take them slightly wider line and put them on the outside of Windspit. Third place is Torridge in Endurance. Fourth, Torrent, which is Boscastle and Crackington. And that looks like Tamar and Toby on the outside there. And then it's Heart of Hailing, which is the Langston crew, and then is Beacon from Bridport. Right, we're going to duck down a little bit and try and take cover as we head into the chop. Fairly choppy conditions. Yeah, good rowing from Swanage. They've pulled out a little bit of a gap now, and I don't think Portishead have given up yet. But they're going to have to row really hard to try and catch up with Swanage. Home event for Swanage, so a lot of these rowers are all running around, setting everything up, helping launch boats. All the planning they put into creating this wonderful event. And then jumping in and having a row and looking really, really good at it too. So just running back through the order, it's Swanage in first place, Portishead in second, Torridge in third, Oh, we've got a little bit. Yeah, thanks, Clay. We've got a bit of a clash. Look, we've got Heart of Hailing, which is the Langston crew, and the Bridport crew. Bridport are not going to be happy when they get out of this boat. That's twice that they've caught up oars and just dropped out the back. And not only that, but they've got caught up on a 5-knot buoy for good measure, and they're having to row themselves round and out of trouble with that. So, yeah, really, really unfortunate for Bridport there. You sometimes get these incidents, but to have two in a race is just pretty horrendous for them. Anyway, fire's going. Come on, get rowing, chase them down. So Swanage should just slowly easing that gap out, Portishead looking fairly safe in second. Torridge in a good third position. Boscastle and Crackington in Torrent in fourth. Tamar and Tavy and I made in fifth. Good battle between those. Langston, after that little clash with Bridport, they've dropped off those boats ahead. And then Bridport there at the back. So now just pushing up to this final mark. They're about a minute or two off the final mark. The wind definitely starts to ease a little bit as we get towards this point in the race. A bit more shelter from the land. Yeah, that Swanage crew looking strong. So I've rowed myself with quite a lot of these guys before they were even vets. So it's nice to see them doing well. They're just coming up on that umpire boat. They've still just eased that gap out. So yeah, it's looking really good for Swanage at this stage. Portishead really strong from them. Yeah, so Swanage round this third mark. The Portishead Cox is definitely still believing from the sound of it that they can win this race, which is good to see. That's what that crew want to hear. The Cox is always trying to be fairly honest, but trying to motivate the crew. So it's certainly from the way he's pushing them, he's still wanting them to get everything they can out of this race. You get to that point where you think, okay, the boat head's going to be over the line before us, but you want to be as close as you can to it when you go over that line. That final push now. So this is the Shield race. This was the middle 7 in time. So they've just spread out a little bit more now. Fairly even spacing between them. So I think we're probably seeing the positions as they're going to be. So we can just have a good look at the quality of the rowing. Swanage still every stroke just adding another inch into their lead. They haven't backed down. The Swanage crew, of course, will know exactly where they are and exactly how far they've got to row. So here they come. This is the Open Shield final. Swanage Super Vets and Swanage, the home club, taking Winspit across the line, and they are the Shield finalists, winners. That's fantastic. Well done, Swanage. There the oars go up. They're happy. There's cheers. Holly's waving her arms. Well done, Swanage. Second, Portishead. They gave it a really good battle. And then third in endurance is Torridge. Oh, they look exhausted. That's exactly how you should look at the end of a race. Well done to them. Good race from them. Torrent, Boscastle and Crackington coming across the line now. Well done to them. And then in Iron Maid, Tamar and Tavy. Langston, they had a clash or two in that, which took them out of the race a little bit. But they've rode hard all the way. They've not dropped off really once they had those clashes. They maintained that gap then. So they still rode really hard. And then towards the back there, Beacon from Bridport. Really unfortunate for them. They were right in the middle of that pack coming into the first turn. Couldn't row either side from the look of it, and just had to let everyone else row by and pass them. And then they had that clash again with the Langston on the third leg. So kind of got chewed up and spat out twice. So they're going to be a little bit downbeat, but you know they're going to know that they're good rowers. They've rowed hard. They're just a bit unfortunate. Okay, short gap, and then we are back for the Women's Cup final. We will see you then. Okay, and welcome back. So this is the cup final for the women. Swanage Super Vets 2025. In berth 1 we've got Mischief from Bristol. In berth 2 we've got Heart of Hailing from Langston. In berth 3 we've got Elowin, which is Paynton. In berth 4 we've got Tristan, which is Weymouth. Berth 5 Teen Spirit from River Team Rowing Club. Berth 6 Len White is Appledore. Berth 7 Florence, which is Brixham. Berth 8 Ictus, which is Mounts Bay. 9 is Q, which is Foy. So that's the point where I stick my phone in my pocket, which is where all those names were, because it's now absolutely pouring down with rain. So we've had considering the forecast, we've had a pretty good run up to this point. You know, it stayed predominantly dry and not too bad. So we were expecting rain at some stage. Hopefully it won't last too long. It does mean everything's kind of getting wrapped up in plastic bags and waterproof stuff, including ourselves. The rowers are out there. It's quite chilly now, so that we're wanting this race to get underway. Kind of Three River vibes under that bridge where they're shivering away just in your vest waiting to get going. So it looks like they're pretty much there. I think we're just waiting. Is it this Langston boat just coming up? So we've got some boats that did really well in the Isles of Scillies in the Super Vets race there. So Teen Spirit from Teen were the world champions in that race. Very closely fought out with Sulcombe, who sadly aren't here today, but also you've got Mounts Bay there and Ictus right up there. I think other finalists were Brixham and Florence, Foy in Q. So we have got some of the best crews are all here fighting out for this. Teen are they've been talking about doing the triple, so they had the Appledore Super Vet event in the plastic boats before the Scillies that they won. They've won at the Scillies. They really, really want to win this race. Okay, the race is underway. Here we are. Ladies Cup final. Sorry, Women's Cup final. Yeah, so looks like Teen have had a good start in the middle there. Really punching that rate away. That's a really punchy rate from Teen. They spent so much time training both in and out of the boat. They really are glued together. I'm trying to be a little bit impartial, but just looking at how they've come off that line, that's fantastic. Q from Foy on the far side, they've had a really good start as well. We're right up alongside the action here. It's absolutely brilliant. So I think we're probably seeing the 4 boats, Appledore as well, they're maybe getting into it. 4 boats that we thought we might expect to see: Teen, Brixham, Foy and Mounts Bay. So this is the final. There's no gameplay here, there's no messing around. It's get around this course in front of everyone else. It looks like Teen have pulled a boat length already. That's really good. I know they all went out and had a celebratory meal a few weeks ago just to celebrate their success in the Isles of Scilly before refocusing back on this event. But yeah, Mounts Bay you can see now just starting to come past Brixham. Q on the outside, Foy. Difficult to tell from this stage. I'll say that it's probably Teen Spirit first, and then Foy second, Mounts Bay third, Brixham fourth. In the middle of the pack we've got Weymouth. I chatted with Weymouth beforehand. I said, what are you hoping for? They were kind of well, middle of the pack. So either they were really downplaying it because I was drilling them for info, or they're really exceeding expectations here. They're fifth in the cup final, so I think from chatting to them beforehand, they'd be really, really happy that they're in that position. Bristol in mischief in 6th place in a close battle with Weymouth there. Yeah, so Tina out in the lead at the moment, but they're not going to walk away with this without having to put some real work in. So they're getting pushed hard by Foy on the outside. They're getting pushed hard by Mounts Bay. They wouldn't have expected anything less than that. I don't know whether they're the same crews from Foy and Mounts Bay as in the World Pilot Gig Championships. But I know both those clubs have got a lot of strength in depth, and they always have a really really strong showing. We've got a clash here between Bristol and Weymouth coming together. That's going to lose them some time. Yeah, and a real tangle. That's a proper. Yeah, they're still rowing with short oars in Bristol to try and get away. Yeah, a bit unfortunate for those crews. That's what. Langston really back into it. They've come up on the inside, could well hold water on those crews now coming into that mark. So 3 crews really in this race for the win here. In team spirit, Andy just looking over his shoulder there, just seeing where everyone else is. Then we've got Foy. They're going to be trying to keep ahead of Mounts Bay there. There we go, coming past the umpire boat into this first mark. So River Team Rowing Club with a lead, very, very close between Foy. So just going to have to be careful, the Mounts Bay cocks here coming past. So yeah, so Foy have the water. Mounts Bay have got to leave them room. Then it's Brixham coming in 4th place. Really, really, they're absolutely flying in with the swim behind them. They go so fast. Bristol coming in then in 5th place. And one of them's actually managed to catch some oars there on the umpire boat. I've not seen that before. That's the first. Yeah, quite tight for those cruise rounds. So first team, 2nd Foy, 3rd Mounts Bay, 4th Brixham, 5th Bristol, 6th is Weymouth, 7th. I was going to say Langston, but I think Paynton have just come up the inside of them and had a better turn. And then at the back there is the Appledore crew. They're quite close at the back. Definitely got some conditions out here now. It's not just a little bit of chop now. We've got a few little rollers coming through as well. The wind's turned a little bit more southerly, so we're getting a little bit more coming round Peveril Point, I think, swinging in towards us. Yeah, Teen opening that gap up over Foy. Foy opening that gap up over Mounts Bay. Brixham doing well as well. They're staying in touch there. 4th place. They haven't let that gap increase at all down this leg. Yeah, so the tight battle is towards the back of this pack. It's Weymouth, it's Paynton and Langston, all fairly tight. Appledore trying to come into that fight as well. Up ahead of them, it's fairly even, fairly decent gaps between them. Teen just heading into this final mark. So then it's going to be Foy in 2nd round the mark, in 3rd Mounts Bay. So they're coming round the mark and into that strong wind now. The white tops on the water again. The rain's eased a little bit, but they won't care about any rain now. It's on their backs. Coxes have got a face full of it. But yeah, they're just pushing into that wind on this long leg. You can see the boat slow right down this mark compared to that last mark, which they all flew around really quick with the wind behind them. They turn into that wind and it slows them right down. Just watching a couple of boats towards the back. You've got Paynton there. We've got the water over the Heart of Hailing boat from Langston. So they've made up a position there. Yeah, all looks fairly tidy around that mark. So I can't give you any names of any of the rowers from any other crews, but I can for Teen, because I know them all very well. Up in the bow seat there is Catherine. In the 2 seat is Caroline, 3 is Diane, 4 is Jane, 5 is Kat, 6 is Sue, and they're coxed by Andy. All of these crews will have done an awful lot of training for the World Pilot Gig Championships, and of course they've kept that training going. They've kept the fitness there. They've kept all of those sessions going for this event as well. And this category, the super vets, has always been so competitive, and has always been such a priority for so many clubs. As I say, most of these rowers that we're seeing up at the top end of this fleet, you know, a lot of them will have competed in those top crews at the World Pilot Gig Championships, in the finals, in the open races. They've got loads of experience. They're rowing just as hard, they're training just as hard as they have done earlier in their rowing careers. Absolutely beautiful rowing that we're seeing from all these crews here. We're up towards the front of the race here in the commentary boat, and it's given us a chance to watch how together these crews are. And I'm just it's quite a privileged position to be in, to be this close and just sort of watch one crew, watch the next crew from right up alongside them. So Teen still pushing. They've had a good fight from Foy. They've had a good fight from Mounts Bay. But there hasn't really ever been a strong challenge. They've just been there and in touch. So they're having to row really hard. It's definitely, there's a top 3, then a gap, then the rest of the group are still fairly close together with a few little overlaps and a few challenges still on there, I think. But there's top 3, yeah, as we come up towards the final mark, probably about a minute away from that final mark and a minute then into the finish. It's looking fairly steady. We're not seeing any one boat starting to increase speed. I'm sure they'll all have a finish and they'll all have a plan.
You come to this side of it, Steve, and get the shore in a little bit, like cast back.
So this Teen crew really wanted to do the triple this year. They've had this event on their calendar for a long time. They've taken that momentum from Appledore into the World Pilot Gig Championships. That was the big aim for this year. They just about came out on top against really strong competition there. And now this is the jewel in the crown for them. Winning the Super Vets Championships is what they've really worked hard for, and it looks like at this stage that they're going to do that. The good thing is they're going to have the competition and the push all the way to that finish line. Foy maybe just taken half a boat length out of them. But yeah, it's going to be a good push to get anywhere close to them now. 3 really quality crews. We expected to see these 3 crews up there. Brixham in 4th, we expected to see them doing well. So no surprises, but absolutely fantastic to watch. Here they go, round the last mark, back in and pushing. I noticed a few of the rowers there in Teen just stopped. There's a few of the bowside rowers just stopped for a stroke or 2 there, which I was surprised about because it's kind of a row round. Might have been they're just a bit close in on the mark. That hasn't affected them. In fact, it looks like Mounts Bay They had a bit of a nightmare there on that turn. They lost all of their speed on that turn. I think possibly just where they possibly went to lift over or something and it didn't quite go right, but they've lost a boat length there on Foy. A slightly messy turn there. So here they are, River Team Rowing Club, or Teen as we know them, pushing for that final. Being chased by Foy, such a good crew as well. So not long to go, about 5 or 6 boat lengths. Really pushing. Looks like they're going to do it. Swanage Super Vets. Women's Cup final. Is it going to be theirs? It can only be theirs now. Last few strokes. Well done to the women of River Team Rowing Club. Crossing the line. There they are. They are the Super Vet Championships here at Swanage. What a great result. What a great season for them. There we go. Absolutely brilliant. I'm elated for them. I'm being as impartial as I can, but I know them all very well. So that's absolutely brilliant. Oars go up. Foy crew across in second. I think they'll be happy with that. They've stayed very, very close to the champions from the World Pilot Gig Champions, so that's good. Mounts Bay just dropping off a little bit. They've got a massive history in the Super Vets women's, multiple winners. So they might be a little bit disappointed with third, but they're giving them a good clap. They're happy with their performance. That's good to see. Brixham fourth. Good to see another Devon club up there. Only just holding off Bristol, so Bristol have had a really good finish to that race. 5th place for Bristol. Here comes Tristan, the Weymouth crew. As I say, they definitely downplaying their expectations when I was chatting to them earlier. So here they are in the cup final, coming a really strong 6th place. Well done to them. So there they are, across the line, a little bit behind them. Heart of Hailing from Langston. Good for them that they're up there in that final. Good showing from them. And then in Elowen, it's the women from Paynton. They've always had a strong Super Vets contingent. They're here in the final. Quite a local club to Teen, so we see them rowing quite regularly, and they've got a lot more young rowers, juniors and open rowers now. They're starting to row, so it's been good to have seen them competing in more than just the women's Super Vets. And last across the line, but in the final, Appledore in Len White. So there we go. That is the Swanage Super Vets Women's Cup Final. Well done to Teen. What a fantastic year. We will join you very shortly for the Open Cup Final. Okay, welcome back. After that a fantastic women's cup final, we are now here for the Open. So we've only got 3 boats at the moment on the start line, so we've got a little bit of time before we get underway. So just looking at the form boats here: Dart in Lightning, Carradon, probably the favourites I think going into this in Anglanville. So kind of expecting to see those two being right up towards the front of this race. The rain has just eased off down to, it's just spitting a little bit now. The wind has died down a little bit. So we're a little bit more comfortable here on the boat. So it's probably just worth mentioning people that managed to put this event together. Swanage, the host club, they always host an amazing event. They've got lots of experience at hosting their own regattas. Sadly, last year, 2024, the event didn't go ahead because of the weather. What was really nice though was a lot of the people that came down for the event. I think they went out for a nice walk, ended up having a drink in the evening and kind of made the best of it. So although that didn't happen this year, despite lots of panicking about the weather that was due to come in, the event's gone ahead. Apart from a bit of rain which we've just had, it really hasn't been that bad at all. So nothing too much to complain about. So yeah, just looking through the crews, I've just got my hands full of lots of bits of paper, trying to make sure that there's no borrowed boats and everyone's in the boat that I'm expecting them to be in. I'm going to put my clipboard down and get that out of the way because it's not helping me too much, and use my eyes and have a look. So in Beedhaven, in berth 1 is Bude. In Lightning is the Dart crew. Then Anglanville, which is the Carradon crew. Ammonites is Lyme Regis. Andowlan, I think, is the A crew. Yeah, that's the A crew in Andowlan, and the B crew in Anglanville for Carradon. Len White, you've got Appledore, and then on the far side there is Brixham in Florence. Oh, sorry, and then, yeah, just coming into view, far end is a Varnish boat. Sorry, I'm going to have to get my phone out again and just have a quick check and see who that is. It looks like Arvenic, doesn't it, on the outside there. Okay, so the starter just calling the boats. Yeah, just getting them perfectly in position. Yeah, so it is Falmouth. Thought it was on that far side there. Okay, so they're off. The Open Cup final, Swanage Supervets, is underway. Starting to have a good look here, see if there seems to be anybody that's standing out. Falmouth on the far side in the Varnish boat looking to have a good start. Both Carradon crews looking to have a good start. Probably Andowlan, yeah, they're in the middle, I would say, yeah, has got it at the moment. I'm sure there's a bit of intra-club competition between the Carradon crews. Yeah, so yeah, and Dowland in the middle there, getting half a boat length on everyone fairly quickly. Second place is either the Falmouth crew on the far side there in the Varnish boat, or in Anglanville in the other Carradon white boat. Fourth place pretty even, I think, between Dart on this near side in Lightning and Lyme Regis in Ammonite. So Carradine are the reigning champions of this event, World Pilot Gig Championships. They've really kind of showing exceptional form. They have won this event before, in 2023 and before, by quite a significant margin. So let's see if anyone can take them to it this year. They've definitely had really strong start. They've opened the gap up early. We've seen that before with some of the other races and people have come back at them. Second, I would say, is Falmouth over on that far side in Alvenek. Then dead even between Carradine B in Anglanville and Dart in Lightning. In fifth place is the Lyme Regis crew in Ammonite. Then it's between Bude and Appledore, and then Brixham just slightly further back. It looks like Dart now just starting to push past Carradine for third place, past the Carradine B crew. Carradine A pushing ahead. They are looking quite dominant here. Yeah, and I'd say Falmouth just kind of dropping back a little bit, joining this race for third. So Carradine A and Andowlin, good advantage on this first leg. Second place, Falmouth in Alvenek, but only just over Lightning in Dart and Carradine B in Anglanville. But Lightning in Dart and Anglanville are on the inside, so they've got that advantage. Probably 3/4 of the way down this first leg. It's quite a bit of, there's a quite a big rib just gone past, and there's quite a bit of swell coming off of that they're rowing through now. So that fight for second place, Falmouth have it on the water, but they're not going to have it, I don't think, coming out of this next mark. Really level for second. There's only a couple of metres in it. So Dart on the inside, rowing strongly into this mark. They're going to come out of this in second. Then it's a fight between Carradine B in Anglanville and Falmouth A in Alvenek. Now, if there's any clash in here, Lyme Regis could do well out of this. Although they come in quite a sharp angle and lost quite a lot of speed there on the mark. So yeah, came charging in, but then lost out. So going through that order again, Carradine A, first place, looking strong, looking dominant, opening the gap out over Dart in second place in Lightning. They had a good turn there. They had the water, but they really took the boat speed in, kept the boat speed up, came out of it strong. Carradine B in Anglanville in third. Come on, I know those guys in that boat are going to be thinking, come on, Carradine 1-2. They want to know how to Dart. They're pushing back a little bit on them maybe. That gap looks like it's closing very slightly. Fourth place, Falmouth in Alvenek. They're still on that outside position. Elsewhere, maybe the Cox might want to think about coming in. Oh, they're a little bit too close now on the umpire boat. Anyway, fourth position. Fifth place in Ammonite, Lyme Regis. Sixth place in Lem White is the Appledore crew. Seventh in Bedehaven is Bude. And eighth place in Florence is Brixham. So yeah, Lim White are just on the outside there, and I think the Bute crew are inside them. They've got the water, so Lim White got to give them plenty of space. Just row around the outside of that tricky second mark. So Carradine got about 3-4 boat lengths, I think, by the time they got round that mark and all got back up to speed again. About 3 or 4 boat lengths. In all fairness, it's been a lot more, I think, in previous events. So the competition is closer. But Carradine, as we kind of expected might happen, are definitely the boat out in front. So a good turn from Carradine. Well, certainly from this angle, Carradine B looks like they've come back at Dart. And if they can hold that position up to this next mark, they might get water and get the inside turn. Looking at Carradine now, that is magnificent. Look at that. Always trying to work out what do different clubs do differently. With Carradine, in their open crows, particularly I notice is the catch. Really strong, aggressive catch. Power is on early. As soon as that blade is dropping, they are driving really, really hard. Not only that, but they're perfectly together. All of their bodies perfectly in sync. All of those oars in, through and out perfectly together. There's a lot of training gone into this. They don't end up out the front of a race like this against other top super vet crews without doing an awful lot of drills, training, working on their fitness. So really good, and it seems like that gap is really opening up now. I think Dart looked like they had a good turn, looked like they might be starting to sneak a little bit back towards them, but now it looks like Dart are in that race trying to hold on to that second place. In Anglanville, the Carradine B crew chasing Dart for second. They've still got their nose up alongside Lightning. That's a good place to be heading towards this final mark. They've got a little advantage coming around that last mark in towards the finish. Dart will really want that second position. Carradine will really want to make it a 1-2, and it looks like Carradine have the momentum at the moment. They're definitely up alongside, although Dart are ahead on the water. Carradine have that little advantage of being on the inside of the mark, and it would imagine it could draw them out pretty much even as they come through towards that finish line. So really good showing from the Carradine B crew. Well done to them, bringing themselves right back into that race. So Carradine A, I've seen them win this event by more than that before. I'm putting the win on them at the moment. I'm not sure it's going to go anywhere else. And I would suspect that is just that the competition is getting so much stronger. So just having a peer around and seeing how far we've got to that final mark. It's getting pretty close now on the final mark. Not long to go. I say it's about a minute's rowing out of that final mark and onto the finish line. Carradine A will start looking at them as they come across the line in a moment, but just looking back to this race for second place. Dart have had another push again. It's going to be close. We'll listen for a call. I think Dart had that. Yeah, so Lightning was over Anglanville, so Dart had the water on there. They pushed back definitely at one point. Anglanville had half a boat length up on the inside there, so credit to the Dart crew there on pulling that back, putting themselves in a position, and that's probably, I would think, unless something dramatic happens now, that's probably gotten that second place. They've chosen to lift their oars over that final mark. Carradine have as well. I'm not sure how much advantage there is to that. They're all doing it. it might be a different angle. I'd probably just row around that one and keep the momentum in the boat. Rejoining Caradonnais, so dominant, looking so good. So many years they've really got this event right. Not long through to the finish. Caradonnais in Andowlan. Last few strokes. Swanage Super Vets Open Cup finalists. They're going to take it. Here they are across the line. Really strong result again from them. Probably about 8 boat lengths in it in the end. Absolutely great. They know they're across the line now. Red oars up in the air. Sight we've seen so often before. They were the favourites, but you never know what's going to happen. Dart up there in second place. Great result for them. Really, really strong. They won't be too upset to finish second to Caradonnais. They've beaten off Caradon B. And then Falmouth coming up to finish fourth. Well done, fourth place for Falmouth. Some good racing still happening further back. In fifth place, Ammonite. It's the Lyme Regis crew. They're going to be fifth across the line. But it looks like Bude got loads of boat speed. They're absolutely flying up to the line behind Lyme Regis. Strong from Bude. Len White is the Appledore crew from North Devon. They're coming across the line in the 7th place and 8th. But in the cup final and rowing well in Florence is the Brixham crew. So what a fantastic day's racing we've had. We haven't quite had the weather, but we're not complaining, because at one stage it was looking like it might not be on. We've had a little bit of rain. It's been quite windy. It's been a little bit overcast, but actually the sunshine's all been out on the water and the quality of the racing. Well done to Swanage as well for putting on an absolutely amazing event. So we've been on a fantastic boat for the day. A local boat here in Swanage, August Mist it's called. It's got loads of space on. We've been really well looked after by our helm Steve. Thank you to Steve. Thank you to all of those at Swanage that have made the event happen, and all of the umpires and other helpers from other clubs. And well done especially to the winning crews. So for the women's it was River Team Rowing Club, and for the men's Caradonnais.